morning I am in a fog, feel like a dog, can't find my other boot. Tuesday they done cut my power off, this week hold on, I'm only halfway through. I didn't Wednesday, Thursday slow but steady by Friday night. Damn, I'm ready for the weekend. Gonna holler like a dog. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm gonna cook me a big old hog.
What's going on, everyone? How's it going? Happy Friday. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. My name is Tyler. We appreciate all of you joining us for today's show. We absolutely, really do appreciate it. It absolutely means a lot. And again, I'll be the host and the producer for the show. So if anything messes up, you know who to blame. I'm just kidding. Please don't blame me. Anyhow, you can go ahead and follow me on most social media platforms. That is at The Cruise Junkie. And on Instagram, of course, that is at The Cruise Show. Anyway, we are here today discussing, well, the Carnival ships. That's right, we're discussing Carnival. What's going on with Carnival Cruise Line? What's happening? And, what's going on with Mobile, Jacksonville, Port Canaveral could be affected as well. So we're going to talk on all of that today on the show. So again, I want to welcome everyone into the chat. We want to say hey to the first person in the chat today, and that was none other, I believe, was... let's go ahead. I believe that was Vex. Vex, welcome in. They were first in the chat. If you're still here, thank you so much for joining us. We also want to say hey to Jeffrey, Jamestown Baseball Commissioner. We also want to say thank you to one of our moderators, one of our Blue Crew, Travel with Nick. Nick, good to have you in here as well. John and Nancy from J&N Travels. Danny from Positive Vibes Adventures. We also want to say hey to James from Traveling Mobile. And then we also want to say hey to Najuma and Anthony. Again, we appreciate all of you joining us for today's show. We're going to be here for hopefully an hour or something like that. Just going here through the cruise news today. It was a busy week, to be honest. Again, this week we were hoping to do a guest on the show, but the news was just so busy that we had to do one of these cruise news shows to keep you updated with all you need to know about the cruise ships. Of course, this week we also had the SpaceX rocket launch scrub, and speaking of that, there's another rocket launch tomorrow, but I don't think it will impact the cruise ships. We hope not. So, anyhow, again, we want to welcome everyone to the show. And again, if you're watching the show and you have not said hey in the chat, feel free to do so. Also, guys, boop that like button. You go ahead and, just go boop. As you do with the space shuttle, you touch the nose. You just go boop. So I guess do that to the like button, everyone. It really does show YouTube that this show is absolutely great and you really do enjoy it. And again, we do the show every single Friday around the 5 o'clock time period where we go through the cruise news or talk to a guest about their cruising experiences or what's going on in the cruise industry. So it's always a really big show every single week. So, and this week is nonetheless a big show because we're going to first kick it off with Carnival. Two more Carnival cruise ships leave the Carnival Cruise Line fleet, and those two ships are the Carnival Sensation and Carnival Ecstasy, which are some of the older ships in the fleet. Now, again, Carnival did announce that two ships would leave its fleet, as the company says will wave farewell to the Sensation and Ecstasy. Carnival also outlined a number of deployment changes. And again, deployment changes are nothing new to the cruise industry. A lot of cruise lines do deployment changes almost every year. So this is, again, nothing new. But again, this is something very interesting is what the 1991 built Carnival Ecstasy and the 1993 built Carnival Sensation are two of the oldest ships in the fleet. And they're going goodbye, which is very, very unfortunate. Now, again, here's a quote from Christine Duffy. It says, "Our guests have remained passionate and supportive throughout the restart, and in 2022 gives us plenty of reasons for enthusiasm and excitement as we reach full operation in the U.S. and prepare for our 50th anniversary celebration and await our, again, arrival of Carnival Celebration in the fall." That's a quote from Christine Duffy. And another quote from Duffy says, "Our very loyal guests and our vibrant home port strategy and our fleet of popular ships are our strengths to our advantages as we adapt to changing opportunities and circumstances." So she's basically saying that the guests help make these changes possible with them going along with these changes. And again, I know a lot of folks in Mobile, they are upset about them losing the Sensation, but at least the people who love the Carnival Ecstasy as their cruise ship, as their first, or they're just in love with the Carnival Ecstasy, at least they'll have a time and a date to sail it, unlike the Fantasy, which people never had a chance to bid for farewell because it immediately left to the scrapyards before it even restarted for Carnival. So again, y'all, at least we have the positive out of this story is we have a chance for people to sail the Carnival Ecstasy before it says bids farewell. Now a note, with the Carnival Sensation, as of right now, the Carnival Sensation is not restarting, and according to the updates from Christine Duffy and the Carnival PR people, it's staying that way. Carnival Sensation is unfortunately never having the chance to restart, which is very, very unfortunate to see and hear. But again, this deployment does make good news for Jacksonville for only a few months, because we have news that the Carnival Spirit will replace the Ecstasy in Jacksonville. And again, that only happens from March the 7th to April the 9th, 2022. And the result of that, the next 2 cruises on board the Spirit are canceled. And a new ship will be assigned from the Carnival fleet to Jacksonville for the Ecstasy itineraries through April 23rd, 2023. Now, what leaves us very interesting. This is very interesting, so let's move. So this basically leaves the Paradise and the Elation for Jacksonville that are in the, again, the Fantasy class as we speak right now. So that means, in theory, one of those ships are going to be redeployed. I predict it will be, if they have to redeploy a Fantasy class ship to Jacksonville, I predict it will be none other than the Carnival Elation. Just because Port Canaveral has enough ships that if we lose one ship, it's not as big of a deal. Now, again, people are wondering, this is bad news for Carnival. They're really taking a hit at their berth number. Of course, last year, they had 4 ships go, at least, yeah, they had 4 of them, I believe, go. Could be wrong in the number, but they had at least 4 ships go last year. Again, this year, they have 2 ships going. So you're like, Tyler, well, that's bad news for Carnival. Well, it is, but not really, because they're going to get the Celebration. The Celebration can almost make up for losing both of those ships. And also, they're supposed to, I don't know if it changed. If Nick wants to comment on this in the chat, feel free to let me know if he knows any updates, if the Magica handover to Carnival has changed. Again, not quite sure about that, because that is another ship. But again, the Carnival Magica is a bigger ship. It's around the same size as the Carnival Sunshine. So unfortunately, that means it cannot go to Jacksonville. It can't go to Mobile because the Carnival Triumph in the past were in Mobile. But again, we all know how great the Carnival Triumph in Mobile went. It unfortunately led to the poop cruise. Yes, there you go. That was probably the worst joke of the show right there. But anywho, guys, again, that was the news that the Carnival Spirit will be replacing the Ecstasy, and then Ecstasy will be replacing none other than the Sensation in Mobile. And then, as of right now, I do believe the Paradise will restart out of Tampa on time, and will not be shifted around, because Tampa really does need that second ship, because I believe the Legend is leaving. Actually, the Pride, I should say, is leaving Tampa in the summer months. I do believe, not 100% sure. I could be there year round, which will be great to hear. Again, not 100% sure. I'm not a big Carnival follower, so if I do get some of this information wrong, do deeply apologize. But again, the interesting thing is that it's only really doing 1 month worth of sailing out of Jacksonville with the Carnival Spirit, which I think is very odd. I think it'll be redeployed maybe to Port Canaveral as like a swap. Because Port Canaveral, they really do need one of those bigger ships like the Legend class doing those short cruises to the Bahamas. Because those on the Elation, every time it goes out here to the port, we can see this ship. It's 100% packed. I mean, probably not selling 100%, but they're around 75%. It's jam packed every single week when it sails out of Port Canaveral. So it's a smash hit. So I do predict Carnival will probably replace that with maybe the Legend or the Spirit. Actually, the Spirit, of course. So that's what I do predict there. So again, y'all, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and tag us in chat. Again, that is at the Tyler Show. That is the absolute best way to get your question answered on the show about all things cruising here. Again, coming up on today's show, we do have the greatest story in the world is making a return for 2022. I know that's everyone's favorite segment. And then we also have we have a new segment. We have a new segment, folks. That's right. I'm checking my notes here, and we have a brand new segment. It's called This Weekend on the Space Coast. So that'll be making a debut a little bit later in the show. But while we were going through that story about the Carnival redeployments with the Spirit, with the Ecstasy, with the Sensation, we had some people hop into the chat. So we want to say hey to TNK Travels. We also want to say hey to Anthony. And also we do want to say hey to the Traveling Heartbeats. And Nathan, we want to say hey to all of you. So appreciate all of you guys being in here. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to tag us in chat at the Tyler Show, and we'll do our best to answer it on today's show. Alrighty, folks. So speaking of cancelizations, this week was also a very big week of cancelizations. I know we have Danny from Positive Vibes Adventures who's in the chat right now, and he's cruising on Wonder of the Seas in 28 days. And as of right now, luckily, that cruise is not likely it's going to be canceled, so that's good. However, other cruise ships that are supposed to sail for the inaugural season later this summer, like the Disney Wish, unfortunately, this week they had to be canceled for the inaugural sailings, and their delivery date for the Disney Wish was pushed back a total of 6 weeks. And again, Disney Cruise Line was citing delays in the Meyer Wharf shipyard all the way over there in Germany. That's why the reason behind this delay. Here's a quote from Disney Cruise Line, the president. He said, "The shipyard has notified us, despite the very best efforts, they will need more time to finish our ship, in part due to the pandemic, and particularly the arrival of the Oricon variant in Germany as a critical point in this process." This was a letter sent to Disney Cruise Line's guests who were booked on the inaugural sailing. So now the new maiden voyage date is July 4th, 2022. And again, the company is said to be reaching out to booked guests to help them reschedule. Now, one thing I do not know about as of right now, does this mean that the Disney Dream will be staying here in Port Canaveral a little bit longer? Because I believe the Disney Dream was supposed to go down to Miami to do cruises down there during the summertime. And then the Disney Fantasy would slide over to the 3 and 4 night cruises, or say 7 nights. And then after the Disney Wish does its 3 and 4 night cruises, because when the Disney Wish does start up, it will be doing those 3 and 4 night cruises, and then slide into the 7 nights a little bit later in the year, I believe. This is a very big move from Disney Cruise Line. Again, Disney Cruise Line didn't have much say into this because it was the yard making this decision. But luckily, other cruise ships such as the Wonder of the Seas were able to basically make their delivery date. Wonder of the Seas is on its way to the U.S. It's actually going to be stopping in Cadiz, Spain, as we speak, to get refueled for the transatlantic all the way over to Fort Lauderdale, and then up here to Port Canaveral a little bit later in November of 2022. So we're looking forward to seeing that up here in the summer, the winter, I should say. Again, in the summertime, we'll be going all the way over to the Mediterranean, Barcelona, and Rome, and then in the winter months, it will be coming over here to the Space Coast, and then its inaugural debut this year will be out of Fort Lauderdale. And I can't wait to see the Wonder of the Seas. Ship looks absolutely phenomenal with the new modern take on the Oasis class. Again, you had the original Oasis class right here. You know, that was the original. You had the Oasis and the Lure. Those were the original design. Then they modernized it just a little bit with the Harmony and the Symphony. And then they modernized it to the max with the Wonder of the Seas. And again, I am looking forward to seeing this ship. It's absolutely stunning. And TNK Travels says, speaking of Disney Cruise Line, as we were talking about here with the cancellation, they're actually looking at doing the Walt Disney Suite on the Fantasy. That is awesome to hear. I know the suites on board most of the Disney ships, the Wish, absolutely stunning. But even on the Fantasy and the Dream and the Magic, they're all stunning cabins. And again, the suite's absolutely phenomenal. If Disney Cruise Line was a little bit cheaper, I would definitely be on one very, very soon. But they are a little bit more pricey compared to all the other cruise lines. So finding a little bit of a deal or a discount is kind of hard to get unless you know people who work for Disney Cruise Line and can give you that employee discount or travel agent discount or stuff. Unless you're a TA or you're a cast member, very hard to get on Disney Cruise Line for relatively affordable. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and sail over to Royal Caribbean. Of course, we talked about the Wonder of the Seas a little bit with them not cancelizing anything on the Wonder of the Seas so far. We're going to go ahead and sail over to Royal Caribbean, though. They did have their earnings call, basically letting them know what's going on with the company. And here's a quote from what is happening. Again, Royal Caribbean Group said that they will have a full fleet back in cruise service by the time for the lucrative summer season, helping to set a path to proper profitability by the later of this year. And again, I can't believe, this is really, really big news. I really can't believe what happened with having Jason Liberty take over. Again, Jason Liberty is really pushing Royal Caribbean Group back to profitability, and I think he actually is a great person to be taking over as we get restarted with cruising again, because he comes from a financial background. So think about it, he's like the Bob Chapek of Royal Caribbean, except he hopefully will make Royal Caribbean better by making the cruise line have profits again. So we hope he doesn't turn into Bob Chapek, but at least we hope he can create the money that Chapek is creating for Disney. So that is one thing that is, I guess, great that we had with Richard Fain leaving and Liberty coming in. And again, a quote from Royal Caribbean, though, again, as of right now, they're still going to expect to have a net loss for the first half of 2022, just due to the impact of Oricon. And again, this did affect their restart changes. So that is very, very interesting for sure. Again, Jason Liberty also said the Oricon has created some short-term challenges and will likely delay the company's return to profitability by a few months. However, he does remain confident that the company will return to full fleet operations by 2022. So there you go. That is Royal Caribbean. Again, everything looks great with profitability there. Again, going up, which is what we want to see. Again, as of right now, profitability is a little bit, it's not that great. But hopefully by the summer times, it will be at 100% a thumbs up. And the company will be making money again, which we want to see. Hopefully that means their stock prices will go up to around pre-pandemic levels, which were very, very high. So that is what we hope that happens with Royal Caribbean, as of course all of us investors do want their stock to go up a little bit. Again, the Royal Caribbean stock is very, very high. Again, they're around like the $80, $70 or so. I'm actually going to pull up the stock right now. So again, I'm trying to incorporate this into the show going forwards. If you guys want to see this on the show, let us know, of course, in the comments if you're watching the replay or in the live chat. Let me know if you want to see what the cruise line stocks are at. And unfortunately, I was wrong. The cruise line stocks are not up at $70 or so. As of right now, the cruise line stocks for Carnival is right at, again, $19.96. Again, Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, they're at 21.25. And as for Royal Caribbean, they're at 75.58. Again, they're down 4.76%. Carnival down 1.87%. And Norwegian Cruise Line down 1.17%. So there you go. That was the cruise line stocks for this week. Again, they have ended this week down, which is very unfortunate. Even though Royal Caribbean announced some positive news that they're going to start making more money again, unfortunately, still the stock had to go down. So again, y'all, if you have any questions, feel free to tag us in chat. That is at the Tyler Show. We will do our best to answer it on the program today. And again, this week there was also some big news in the world of shipping, as a ship caught on fire over there in Africa. But more specifically, evolving here, Port Canaveral, of course. Here on the Tyler Show, we like to cover Port Canaveral and the cruise industry. Again, we'd like to track, document, and report. But we also sometimes track other industries related to the port. And this week, there was a vessel that sailed from Port Canaveral that, again, related to the U.S. government for this time. But it had some very, very big news and some very, very unfortunate things happened to it. So I guess what it is time to do, y'all's favorite segment. Again, this was a really popular segment back in the day, but it's time to do the greatest story in the world.
Hold on, folks, because we're about to do the greatest story in the world.
It is the greatest story in the world, and today is an absolute doozy. A Port Canaveral tugboat has basically lost power and crashed into the shore off of Delray Beach in South Florida. So if you guys aren't familiar, there is a barge that goes to the military island in the Bahamas that the U.S. government tests the nuclear submarines and technology and all that secretive stuff. And in order for the island to get their food, they have to use a tugboat and barge. And so yeah, this tugboat, the Sea Eagle, was out of commission for a few weeks, and this was his first ever trip back after going to major dry dock because of engine problems. And well, last night at 8:45 local time, the tugboat hit ashore, and as you can see here from this video, its payload is still attached, and I think it just needs another tugboat to move this payload to the military base. So how about that for the greatest story of the world? I found that one this morning, and that one was a big talking point for me. And here's the deal. If you want to see for yourself the actual track of the tugboat Sea Eagle, look it up on Marine Traffic, and you won't be disappointed.
Wasn't
very
that
interesting
just the greatest story in the world right there, folks? That was, that one was an interesting one. I was scrolling on my Twitter feed, and the Coast Guard, of course, tweeted about that. And originally I was like, oh, a tugboat. I thought it was maybe in like the Texas region because, of course, there's lots of tugboats over there with barges and stuff. But no, it was actually off the coast of Boca Raton near Delray Beach. And yeah, that was the Sea Eagle tugboat, as I mentioned in the story. And it crashed into or beached itself, I should say, onto the Florida coast. It was very, very interesting. Because, of course, I follow the ships here at the port, and that ship was out of commission for a little bit of time. So very unfortunate to see. Luckily, the Coast Guard is doing some salvage operations as we speak, so that is great to hear. And again, hopefully next week, the greatest story in the world will actually be a positive story, but that was the most interesting story in the world, so I dare call it the greatest story in the world this week. And again, this week on the Space Coast is going to be a very interesting one. We have lots of activities going on. So with that being said, I think it is time to find out what's happening this week on the Space Coast. Now it's time for This Weekend on the Space Coast. Hey, welcome to This Weekend on the Space Coast. My name is Tyler. I'll be your host for today's segment, and we're going to be telling you what fun things you can do this weekend if you're on the Space Coast, either if you're on one of the cruise ships or, well, you're at the beach. Well, this weekend is particularly important because it's a rocket launch, and not just any rocket launch. It is Astra's Rocket 3.3. It is their first ever rocket launch from Cape Canaveral. Now, Astra is a rocket company that launching small satellites for NASA into orbit. They're going to be launching around the 1 o'clock time tomorrow. So if you are on the Carnival Mardi Gras, you're going to have some of the best views in the entire house. So if you're cruising on Mardi Gras or know someone who is, alert them to bring their nice telephoto zoom lens and get set up, because they're going to get some amazing pictures, as the Astra launch pad is the closest launch pad to the port. And here's the deal. It's going to be great even if you're at Jetty Park. So if you're at Jetty Park ship spotting this weekend, another thing to be in attention of. But anyway, that's going to do it for this weekend on the Space Coast. Tune in next weekend as we tell you another fun thing to look forward to.
7, 6, 5, 4.
Have ignition of the brand new segment. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Again, that was a brand new segment we had in the works for a few months now. It's called This Weekend on the Space Coast. Again, when I find those cool, interesting things from rocket launches, boat shows, restaurants opening up and stuff, I'm going to make sure to share it here on This Weekend on the Space Coast, a segment of the weekend kickoff show. So again, let me know if y'all did enjoy this brand new segment. Again, I really did enjoy putting that one together. And again, liftoff is scheduled for around 1 o'clock or so as of right now. Again, it could change. It could be at 3 o'clock. It could be at 12 a.m. Who knows? But again, as of right now, 1 o'clock is the time. You can actually go ahead and watch the webcast. I believe that's on that NASA Spaceflight's YouTube channel or something like that. So again, if you're not able to be there at the Space Coast, you can also check out that rocket launch if you want to see it for yourself. So there you go. Again, that was this weekend on the Space Coast. Lots of things happening this weekend. And again, we're hoping to head over to the Space Coast for one of these Friday shows. Probably won't be around 5 o'clock because it is 5 o'clock right now and the sun is very much setting. So hopefully the next time we go live from the Space Coast will probably be on a Friday. Again, our next trip to the Space Coast will hopefully, as of right now, be on a Friday. So we're hoping to get the nice Nikon, not the Nikon, but the Lumix GX85, which is behind me. Can't say it's behind the studio way back there. We're hoping to get that set up so I can go live streaming the sailaways of the Carnival Liberty and maybe some other ships. So again, that's hoping to come within the next few weeks. Again, the problem with this is buying the rig is pretty expensive, as you have to get the battery pack for it, and it has to have like a wire so you can basically run for like multiple hours at a time. And then also I have to go ahead and get like a cable or something. So I'm working out the pricing on that. Should be around $50 or so, I think, with everything, with the cord, the cable, and the adapter and everything. So I'm working through that one, but again, hope to get that up and running for hopefully a trip over there within the next few weeks. So I just hope that the Amazon people will deliver things in time. So again, working out all those logistical things, but again, hoping to stream on the Space Coast during sailaways because, of course, it's nothing beats a live sail away, of course, with nice 1080p. So that's what we're working out here, and maybe one day, but I doubt I'll be able to do it because of the internet signal over there. But maybe one day I can live stream a rocket launch. But that's what our goal is here with the channel, trying to be able to live stream HD Space Coast content every single weekend. So that's our goal going forward here on the channel in terms of live streaming this year. Of course, we're gonna have guests on the show if we're not at the Space Coast. So again, if you are new here, consider subscribing, and if you like the content, hit the like button and ding the bell so you're notified every time we post another one of these videos or we do a live stream. And again, we want to say a big thank you to our Patreon supporters as they make the show possible. This live stream was made possible due to the supporters on Patreon. Patreon.com is a way to support me for exchange of extra benefits, including Discord VIP lounge benefits and much more. Again, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1.99 per month. Again, go to patreon.com/The Tyler Show to learn more about becoming a Patreon member. So again, a big thank you to our Patreon supporters for allowing us to do this show every single week. If you want to become a Patreon supporter, you can go ahead and click the link in the description below. And again, that really honestly does help us getting new gear. And that's what all the money for Patreon goes to. It doesn't go just my bank account, so you know. It goes straight back into the channel with getting new cameras and getting all this gear set up and paying for the trips and gas, because gas is pretty expensive nowadays for the trip all the way over to Port Canaveral. So again, a big thank you to our Patreon supporters. And again, if you are a Patreon supporter, you do get exclusive photos. I go out there every week or not every week, but I go out there a lot and I take literally hundreds of the photos. So again, the Patreon supporters get exclusive, the HD photos, again, uploaded there almost every time I go to the port. I will immediately, the night of, if I get back home to the studio within the same day, I'll go ahead and do an exclusive sail away photos from that day's sail away. So again, if you're a Patreon supporter, any tier gets those photos. So I want to thank you for that. And again, that's one of the things that I really do enjoy at the port is taking photos. Again, if you're not following me on Instagram already, you can go ahead and follow me. It's at The Cruise Show. I guess I hit 1,000 followers, which is just awesome to see. I want to thank all of you guys for the support. I haven't mentioned that recently, but I did hit 1,000 followers. I'm really close to 2,000 just due to y'all's support. So I want to thank all of you for that as we hit 1,000 followers on Instagram. And we're almost close to 2,000. And again, I want to thank all of you for supporting me over there. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to tag us in chat. That is
at the Tyler Show, I should say, not the Cruise Show. That's the Instagram account, but no, it's at the Tyler Show, and we'll do our best to answer any questions down there in the chat. And again, if you have any questions, tag us in chat. But we're going to go ahead and do some of the stories that did not make the cut. So we're going to go ahead and spool some of those stories up. Again, y'all, this is one of the stories that did not make the original. Again, the big news segment this week on the Cruise Junkie. I was going to cover this one. This is pretty good news for MSC, I guess. MSC Cruise Line announced that they're going to debut 2 new builds in the winter of 2022-2023 sailing program. And again, this is very, very good news. So their all new LNG cruise ship, the World Europa, will officially debut in Dubai in 2022. She will sail there during 2022. Also, MSC Cruise Line's newest Seaside class ship, the MSC Seascape, will join MSC Cruise Line's U.S. fleet, and she will sail 2 different 7-night itineraries from Port of Miami, with the first sailing being on December 11th, 2022. So that is great to see. Again, we do hope that with more Seaside class ships around the world, hopefully in the 2024 season, we can see one of these ships up here in Port Canaveral. Again, for Port Canaveral, MSC Cruise Line announced that the MSC Megavilia will offer 3 to 7 night Caribbean cruises from Port Canaveral, including Nassau, Bahamas, Ocean Cay, Marine Reserve, Costa Maya, Mexico, Cozumel, Belize City, and a whole bunch of other ports. Again, MSC is very interesting on the Space Coast. They do a 3 and 4 night sailing, then they do a 7-night sailing, and then they do a 3 and 4 night, 7 nights. So it's very interesting. Also, the MSC Divina will offer 3 to 10 night cruises out of the Port of Miami beginning this winter. And again, she'll be with itineraries calling in Ocean Cay, Belize City, also in Honduras, Costa Maya, Jamaica, Colombia, Panama, and Costa Rica. And then another thing that's very interesting about the Divina and the Megavilia is those 2 ships usually alternate here in Canaveral, where they'll do the Divina will do the summer months, and then the Megavilia will come in for the winter months, which is very, very interesting. Also for the Mediterranean, the MSC Grandiosa will sail a set of 7-night cruises from Genoa, Italy, also going to Rome, and also Palermo, also Barcelona and France. The MSC Virtuosa will also sail from Genova, and also sail to Naples and Spain. MSC Lyrica will operate from Genova, sail also to Rome, Rhodes, Greece, Cyprus, Israel, and more. And again, there's a whole bunch of other ships that are doing cruises for MSC. And again, if you want to see a link to the full deployment, check out cruiseindustrynews.com. That is the place where I get most of my news from, as they are usually 100% accurate. They're reporting. They don't get anything wrong, and they don't do any misinformation, which is one of the things we strive here at the show to keep the news as accurate as possible, and try to, keep the news as accurate as possible so you guys can be well informed and well equipped. So if anyone brings up the cruise news, you can tell them the facts and the facts only, and not just some opinions. So again, y'all, that was the story that did not make the cut for today's show, or this week's show in general. Again, this week was a big week with lots of cruise ships getting in trouble. Of course, we still have those 2 Crystal cruise ships that had to be deployed to the Bahamas because they couldn't dock in Florida. So those were the big newses, of course. We also had the Wonder of the Seas, of course, go to Cyprus. We also had the Harmony of the Seas get yelled at by the Coast Guard, the FAA, SpaceX. They got yelled at. So that was some pretty big news. And we also, of course, had the Carnival announce that 2 ships are unfortunately going bye-bye. And the Carnival Spirit will not sail to Australia anytime soon. So those were the newses that were announced this week. Again, absolute crazy week filled with cruise news. And I want to thank everyone for joining us for today's show. Again, I know the show's a little bit on the shorter side, of course, as we don't have a guest on this show. it's very hard to fill a whole hour worth of doing cruise news. There was a lot this week, but there was not that much that required a whole hour show. So I want to thank everyone for joining us nonetheless. Again, I was your host, Tyler. You can go ahead and follow me on most social media platforms. That is at The Cruise Junkie. Again, if you want to follow me on Instagram, that is at The Cruise Show. Again, I appreciate all of you guys joining us. And again, we'll be right back here sometime, hopefully next Friday, either from Port Canaveral or back here at the studio. So again, until the next time we're back here together, I'm Tyler, and you are watching The Tyler Show. Take it easy, everyone, and have a very safe and fantastic weekend.